On tonight's CBS Evening News, anchor Norah O'Donnell will have her interview with President Trump's former national security advisor, John Bolton.
Bolton's new book, The Room Where It Happened, is published by Simon & Schuster, a division of Viacom CBS. The book was released today and is drawing fire from the administration. Here is a preview of Norah's interview.
You've been called a liar. The Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, said this morning that you were left out of meetings because he was leaking, or he would twist things, or he lied.
Yeah. Well, Mike and I obviously have a substantial disagreement here because I think his department was the ace of aces in the government for leaking things. He has made a decision, which is certainly his to make, to tie his political future to Donald Trump. I think that's what he continues to do. I feel sorry for him for doing that, but obviously I'm not going to change his mind.
And Norah joins us now. Pretty incredible there, Norah. He's got the right angry at him. He's got the left mad at him, just about everybody in Washington. And the Justice Department is signaling that he might be facing criminal charges here. Is he worried about that at all?
He is worried, and good evening to you, Maurice and Christine. I mean, here the former national security advisor describes a dysfunctional White House. You can see how little most of the people in the White House like each other from his own description there. And now the Trump team is stepping up their threats against John Bolton, warning of jail time, that in fact the Justice Department may pursue civil and criminal charges against Bolton for essentially sharing classified information, lots of secrets in this book. What are some of those secrets in this book? Well, if you read the book, you'll see there are multiple passages about President Trump's conversation with world leaders, specifically the leader of China, President Xi. And in that particular instance, John Bolton says that President Trump asked the Chinese president for help to try and win the 2020 election. That's one of the questions I had for Bolton tonight. How explicit was that ask for essentially foreign interference in our democratic process? And you'll hear Bolton's answer tonight, and it's pretty revealing, but it's extraordinary conversation, as this is really the first time we've gotten someone who was inside the White House, in the inner circle. He was there for about 18 months, telling us about a whole myriad of decision-making that went on by the president on foreign policy and other issues.
Norah, on the election note, you spoke of China there, but I know that you did ask Bolton if China or Russia was actually the bigger threat for the 2020 elections. What was his opinion on that?
Well, look, and the reason I asked this question is because I've been speaking with intelligence officials for years. They are deeply concerned that this 2020 election, in the words of one advisor, not a political person, that this will be the Super Bowl of foreign interference, that it's going to be China, Russia, and Iran. So I asked the former national security advisor, who had access to the top secret intelligence, I said, who's a bigger threat, China or Russia? He said Russia is essentially a one-horse economy. They're still going to be a threat, but China, of course, is a wealthy country with enormous cyber capabilities. And so in his words, he said China is launching what is the broadest influence operations ever undertaken in history. They have more resources than Russia. So I think that's just, and Bolton said today, and whether you agree or disagree with him, I think this point is clear. He said more Americans should be attuned to this, what foreign governments are trying to do to disrupt our election process. And then just one more tease, essentially, for our interview tonight. I do ask Bolton, what does he believe President Trump, if he were to lose, let's say in November, would he contest the results of the election? And you'll hear what he says and what might be the possible solution. So it's hard to imagine that this is an election year. We've been covering, I know, COVID and everything else like that, but politics is soon going to enter all this, and the questions about election security and mail-in ballots, all of that is, of course, you guys had a primary as well. It was certainly top of mind, too, during this interview.
So many layers. Norah, looking forward to it. Thanks so much.
Hey, good to see you guys.
Good to see you too, Norah. Stay healthy. You can catch the full interview tonight on the CBS Evening News with Norah O'Donnell coming up at 6:30 tonight.